Hail them.
Hailing frequencies open, sir.
Hailing frequencies. Open.
I don't know why I keep giving alien street food a chance. It's always such a gamble.
Captain, we're being hailed.
On screen.
Hello, and welcome to another Hailing Frequencies Open, where we continue to trek through the past of Star Trek. Today, we're focusing on the past. As always, I'm your host, Mike Jones, and joining me here in virtual studio, just like Jean-Luc, when faced eye to eye with a challenge, he chooses to ram it straight in its mouth. It's Damien.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I don't really have a real reply to that other than I'm delighted that I'm delighted that that's her intro tonight. Thank you.
Nice. Good. I don't have much to say about that intro either, except that Lanita is laughing her ass off right now. Last time she was on, she basically crashed the saucer into Viridian 3, and boy, did we hear about it. So naturally, we brought her back as a co-host. Founders in Ferengi, it's friend of the pod, Leigh Ellen.
Hello.
Our resident flamethrower. Welcome. It's nice to see you.
Yeah. It's nice to see you ramming it straight in, you know?
Listen,
also, Mike,
both of those intros, which were written separate from each other, are very rammy, crashy. Like, that's the energy we're starting with today.
I just listened to your most recent episode also, and I guess you didn't get around to editing Ake into the intro yet.
I did not. I don't know. Has she, she hasn't, honestly, it's hard to get audio from the new shows because all the old shows, there's audio clips all over the internet, but the new shows, it's a little bit harder. But I need to find someone saying about hailing frequencies, and they haven't so much.
Oh, you're right.
Anyway.
I guess they haven't. They don't really talk about that. All right.
Yeah,
who's next?
It's all automatic in the future. My God, before I say anything else, I have to acknowledge your earrings because they keep catching my eye.
Thank you. These were
Beautiful.
actually the other friend of the pod, Sunil, who's a friend of me, designed these earrings for me. I have him. I'm his new muse, and he's been making me Star Trek earrings. And these are my favorite.
Are they
ones.
mirrored?
They're mirrored, yeah. So for people that are
Very
listening and not
appropriate
watching,
for today's topic.
they're big mirrored silver deltas with stars dangling off.
Right.
They're my favorite. Thank you, Sunil. All right, who's our guest today, co-hosts?
Well, we are continuing our rewatch of the movies, and of course, that means our guest. The Romulans tried to clone our friend and crewmate Lanita, but they couldn't quite get the braids right. But we said, hey, send us that clone and we'll do the podcast with her. So here she is, that fucked up clone of Lanita that the Romulans made. It's Lanita.
I think they did a pretty good job.
I think they did a pretty good job.
I mean, it twists, not braids, but it all comes out in the wash.
I want to tell you that intro was written before I saw your hairscape today, so it just coincided with a new, fresh look.
Correct. You
Nice.
got to keep it fresh. Got to keep y'all guessing what's going on.
Absolutely.
How's everybody doing?
Are those hitting a redundant memory port in the back of your neck?
Yes, correct. It's hidden away so that nobody can accidentally shut me down for an indefinite amount of time.
Excellent.
And how has that temporal resequencing been going for you?
It's a little glitchy today, but it got better after I had a delicious lunch of kimchi jjigae and some cucumber salad. So, it's all evening out on the inside.
At my restaurant. You were my favorite guest today.
Oh yeah. Oh, God, I love
Amazing.
that place.
All right, we've got a lot to talk about today, so let's jump into it. This movie, Star Trek Nemesis, came out 2002, so long ago. I remember seeing it in the theater.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Did you see it in the theater, Damien? Yeah.
I did, yes.
Screenplay by Logan, story by John Logan, Rick Berman, and Brent Spiner gets a story credit. directed by Stuart Baird, and of course produced by Rick Berman. Um, my internet connection is unstable, so that's fun. Um, if you lose me, try to give a wave. um, okay, so like we have in the other films, I'll just kind of go through like the plot, and then we'll pause throughout to discuss, because you know what I mean. We open in the Romulan Senate, which reminds me of the Roman Senate from Julius Caesar, and just like that play, there's a betrayal. Talora leaves a Thaleron CGI device that kills everyone in the Senate chambers, just like they're vampires in the sun.
It was great.
Yeah, it was.
No, it was, I was like, was she leaving? Everybody else is standing there. Mind you, like I knew something was afoot, but I didn't know what. And then when I saw I said, oh, that's a cute little device. I wonder what it does. And then when everybody turned to ash, like they were from Pompeii, I said, damn, that's a rough way to go.
We're like, oh, you left your purse. You left your little clutch. Oh, wait.
She didn't.
No, not a clutch.
She didn't.
I thought it was weird that nobody really noticed until it like started moving, but it's like nobody else had anything on that table, but nobody noticed. I don't know. I thought that was weird. I was like,
right, and everybody
aren't
was
you
like
guys supposed to be
frozen by
suspicious?
Yeah, nobody ran.
Yeah, but
what is it?
It did a whole song and dance, and they just watched
it. Oh. Here's a question though. She was the only. It seemed like she's the only lady in the Senate. Or did I miss other ladies?
Oh, I didn't notice that.
No, I think you're right.
I didn't notice. No.
So they probably did just think, I guess that's her purse.
Interesting. Ordinarily, I don't think of the Romulans as being like
gendered.
Yeah, like the Romulans seem to have gendered diversity and women in power, and I don't think that's like a larger thing in Star Trek. But I think you're right. They all look like men.
Well, no one questioned her when she was like, "Excuse me, I have to leave."
Correct. It's like it was sort of like she's the only one.
Got to go take care of something.
Like she's the thing that she said she was going to do. It seemed like she was the only one who could do that thing. So I was like, okay, well, she's out.
Yeah.
But still, keep going. I know we start talking already.
No, it's great. Cut to Earth, where Riker and Troy are having a wedding reception. Picard gives a lovely speech. Data sings Blue Skies, and we find out that Worf hates Irving Berlin. And Wesley Crusher is there. He has a cutscene. We're going to talk about cutscenes a lot, I think, today. But more importantly, not only does he have a cutscene, he's there in the
he's just like sitting
version.
at the end of the table when Picard's
sitting
on
the end of the table. But here's how old this movie is. When it came out on DVD, I think I had the DVD. I don't think I had a VHS. I bought the full screen version rather than the widescreen version because TVs back then were 3:4. And in the full screen, he's cut out. Like he's not in the movie because he's like on the end of the table.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, he's like completely not in the movie.
Wow.
Which Lanita saying, how was my screen adjusted?
Do we?
Also, here's the thing: as he was talking, Picard is talking. I'm like, who the fuck got married? And then when I was like, oh, they had a wedding. Like, let's be clear, because I've not seen this movie, all of this stuff that y'all know in the future, yes, they're together and Imzadi and all that. I was like, oh, this is where that comes from. But
there's
also,
a lot of Star Trek Picard that is based on the events of this movie.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
So
here's
much.
the thing. What episode were we talking about where she was talking about his facial hair and her not kissing him?
That was the last movie.
Insurrection.
That was Insurrection.
That was the last movie.
Yeah.
So, but he had, so this is, he still got the facial hair. Okay, go. In my head, I was like, we just talked about facial hair. Yeah, facial hair at some point, and she didn't like kissing him, but it was in the past. Okay, go ahead. Yes. This wedding blew my mind. I was like, the fuck is happening? Oh, this is a marriage.
It seems like they're having two ceremonies, kind of like one on Earth for his family and one on Beta Z for her family.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
it does.
Happens all the time.
I was a little bit, not to nitpick the seating arrangement at the reception, but it's a wedding, so that's very important.
Mhm.
For some reason, Geordi wasn't on the date with everybody else. He was just
Why?
and neither was Worf. They were both sitting with Guinan.
Oh, yeah, they were.
Why the black people not on the dais?
Well, who's this black dude? Who's in Damazon's picture? There's a black dude over his right shoulder. Who's that? Sitting next to Troy.
Oh, maybe it's Geordi.
I feel like
That
that's
is
Geordi.
Geordi, right?
I feel like Geordi was.
I'm thinking of later.
Yeah, Geordi was at the table. I don't
Yeah,
think Worf was
Geordi's
ever
later
at the,
sitting with Guinan. Yeah.
Yeah, later.
Geordi is later sitting with Guinan.
Yeah, asking her
But
about.
Worf
Also-
was not at the table.
No.
I don't recall them addressing how he doesn't have his visor anymore. Like in the last movie, his eyes were like healed on the planet, but then when they left the planet,
Correct.
they went
And
back
now
to
he's got
normal.
blue eyes.
But they just don't address it at all, which I thought was kind of weird.
You can see it in First Contact. They kind of give you a little
Can I watch?
And he already had the implants, but
yeah.
when they healed on the Baku plant, they unhealed after they flew away, which
Yeah, they didn't
I
stay.
don't know.
No, because whatever
Okay.
happened on the
All
planet,
their boobs
you have to
sagged
be
again
on.
when they left
You
that
have to
planet.
All
be
the boobs
correct.
sagged again.
Tits
Well,
went
there you
back
go.
down. Like you have to be on the planet for the medicinal properties of the planet to help you.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
I'm gonna go
Um,
plug my light back in. I'm sorry, my cats just pulled the plug out of the light. I'll be right back.
Cats are
See,
such
and this is why
assholes. I love it.
They are, but they're the best. And
They
this is
are.
why you should watch us on the YouTubes because you get to see moments like that.
Also, I know that Brent Spiner got a writing credit, and he's the one who was like, "Well, I need to sing a song."
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Well, I
enjoyed
love
the
that
song,
that
though.
song becomes a theme. I just rewatched seasons 1 and 2
Yes.
of Picard.
Yes.
And-
They do a good job bringing that back.
Oh, it's so good. And the version that they use at the very beginning of Picard, like it just makes you like so emotional just right at the beginning where you're already emotional because it's like you've waited so long for this like next storyline, you know?
Well, we've never asked her, but I wonder
Right.
if this is where our friend Lucy gets her name.
Oh.
Guys.
Oh, we'll
She's a
have
huge
to-
Data fan, and this was it. And if Data now has a theme song, it's this.
Yeah.
That makes total sense.
Wow.
Is this the last movie in our trilogy, or is there a movie after this?
This is the last one.
This is, yeah.
This is the last
So-
TNG movie.
So that's why it was such a big deal in Picard.
Yeah.
Yeah, there hasn't been
Oh.
anything TNG from the end of this movie until season 1 of Picard.
So spoiler alert: when Data dies, Data's dead, and everybody's like, "What
Yeah.
the fuck?"
Oh, I have a fun little anecdote about that. So my very first like Trek kind of outing, my ex who introduced me to Star Trek took us to go meet William Shatner at a Wrath of Khan like viewing thing in New Jersey. And in the interview, William Shatner I hadn't gotten to this part yet. Like I think we were finishing up Next Generation and like the next thing we were going to do was start the movies. And he just like blurts it out on stage. And I was like, damn. And so when we went to go take the pictures with him, I was going to say something like, you just spoiled the end of the movie for me. But it was right after COVID. I want to say it was like 2021. And so there were like the dividers and it was very weird. And I got nervous and I didn't end up saying it. But like William Shatner ruined the end of this movie for me.
That's hysterical.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I always wonder where he died and like why that was a thing. And so now I know because it was like,
Yeah. And B4 is even referenced in
Yeah. In Picard, yeah.
Picard, the drawer.
Yeah.
Okay. On the way to Beta Z, the Enterprise picks up a positronic signal. They go to investigate and go joyriding on the overexposed planet in what can only be described as a doom buggy.
correct.
On that planet, they find B4, a Soon type android, a less advanced prototype of Data. They also encounter natives. Here's my question. Okay, multiple questions.
Mm-hmm.
One, why a doom buggy?
No, 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 no. I like
Like,
no. You leave them alone. Dune buggy is great.
you
It's
like the
of
doom
the
buggy?
I don't it is a desert planet.
They're
Every
like Mad
alien
Max.
planet,
Uh-huh.
every
Very
alien
Mad
planet,
Max.
there is always a dune buggy. You're driving on Mars, rovers. You're driving in the desert, ATVs. This was not the part that I had questions about. I had questions about one, who the fuck are these aliens? Why do they look like lizard
Yeah.
people?
Yeah.
Gorns. And why did they agree to have these five body parts strewn about the planet? Like, it's too convoluted. Like, okay, you go to the planet because you're planning the body to steal the things, but these dudes are actually shooting at the people that you want to get the body so they can put it back together so it can steal the data so that you can find continue. I was like, that's just weird.
Yeah, I don't know that the locals who reminded me of those aliens in Star Wars that like rule, anyway, they'll be back and in greater numbers. I don't know the name of the way. Um, okay, like are these do you think that these aliens are warp capable? Because if they're not, this seems to be a prime directive violation. Like we're
Yeah, I think
just
they
like
said that they're not.
on this planet,
But
bebopping
that's yeah, but
around,
no, but that's the
shooting
thing.
at people.
That's why they didn't warp in. That's why they didn't woo in. They
Transport.
went transport. Thank you. That's why they flew there because they were pre-warp. So it's not breaking the prime directive because you haven't shown them anything that they don't necessarily have. They're on ATVs. They're also shooting phasery guns. So it's sort of level playing field.
That's true. That's
Um,
true, I
the
guess.
only thing that was hibbly pibbledy is the fact that you had a ship maybe and it could be remote control
Yeah.
driven like an RC car. How
That was so cool though when
yeah
they
it's yeah
drove the
it's
car
It
into
here's
the
the thing.
ship.
Listen, Thelma and
Ah.
Louise, here's the thing is that if you really look at it, the top of that fucker should have clipped because that wasn't open. Like, why didn't we just have the door open? Why is the door opening while the car is jumping? Why is the plane so fucking far away from the ledge? Put the shit right there like you would do if you're
Yeah.
putting a car on a tow truck and let it roll on in. But I get it. It's for
For
the
the
adventure,
drama.
I
the
thought it was
drama.
great. I was like, yeah, in my own living room by myself.
I do love I not love the Argo in this the Doom buggy in this movie, but I do love that it comes back in an episode of Lower Decks. One of those like around inside Deep Space Nine with a thing full of data bottles in the back. That made me happy. Uh,
See,
Right,
now I
because
have to
Lower Decks
go
knows how to
okay.
pick at things that are inherently ridiculous.
Yeah.
and I now have to go back and watch
Yes,
all of that because
exactly.
like
Right.
there's so many things that we like that
Yeah.
I missed because I'm like, oh, I don't have any reference. That's just cool and it's funny, but now it's like, oh, this is why.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so they bring B4 back on the ship. They reassemble him. They find out his name is B4, and they decide to do a data dump from Data to him. A data dump.
Why?
Um,
Why are we always doing that?
I don't know.
Why haven't we learned that like data is a one of one? Have we not learned lore bad? Like they're bad morals, it's all bad data. Everyone who is not data is bad
Yeah.
or has
Or
the
corrupt
potential
data.
correct. Like what are we doing? You have to do some firewalls. They're like, yeah, floodgates, let them have it all. Are you stupid? That's when I was like yelling at my phone, like, you're stupid. Don't
Right.
give
Well,
them
also it's like this
everything.
android that we have already established was laid as a trap. Right.
Yeah.
At that point, they already know that
Yeah.
B4 was a trap.
Mm,
No, I
I
don't
don't
think
think
they
they know.
did.
no,
They don't.
They
Okay.
should
no,
know,
but they don't. When they're
but
doing
I
that
don't
whole
think
date,
they.
It
that whole
wasn't until they
plug-in
found the
back
Like why?
secondary memory card that they were like, wait a minute.
Oh yeah, yeah. The the port in his neck. Um, and why did he just start emitting positronics? Like, are we constantly scanning for positronic signals? Like from and really far away because it's close to the Romulan homeworld or Romulan neutral zone. It's a little convenient. And I have to say, I mean, not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but like Shinzon's plot, his plan was somehow they
What?
got a hold of
What?
B4
What was the plan?
and to
Please.
scatter parts of him on a planet, thinking that only the Enterprise will go there
Mm-hmm.
and Picard will be with them,
But this
Mm-hmm.
happens
knowing
so
that the
much.
Federation will assign Picard
Mm-hmm.
to go to the planet.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this
like
happens so much. Like it's always like, oh, I knew that I was
yeah,
going to get you involved, Picard, because you
No.
love this. Like it
Mm.
happens in Picard too.
right.
They do it in
But
Oh
season
yeah, it
two.
does.
but here's the thing. This okay. I'm just gonna jump to the like this
Go
made
for it.
no sense. I was like, y'all should have already prepared me for the fact that we were gonna end on a fucking low note.
Oh,
Because when this movie finished, I said, well, what the fuck was that? Like,
What was the point of any of that? Yes.
what
right.
was the point of any of it? Except for the fact that I did write down, finally they listened to a woman. Even though she's the one who killed them all, she did redeem herself in the end. So I appreciated that when they're
Right.
like, we can't do anything. She's like, her little spidey senses, fine. But what, what was the point? What was the point? What was the point?
I mean, I think that they wanted it to be well, here's the other thing. They marketed it as a generation's final journey or something like that. But they were already writing the next movie. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't really going to be the last one. And then it performed so badly that it ended up being the last one. But
Yeah.
we especially if you include all the cut scenes, because there's like 45 minutes of cut material. Not only is Riker and Troy leaving to go to the
Mm-hmm.
Titan, where
Mm-hmm.
Riker's going to be the captain, Beverly is leaving to go back to Starfleet Medical. They cut that from the final film. Um, and so it's like all of Picard, it's like the band is breaking up, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
Well, and when you
but
look at it in the context
I,
of that, because all right, so we did watch the deleted scenes, right? And there's this deleted
Who?
scene.
Oh shit, no. That was homework too? My bad.
I didn't get around to it, and you said it
Oh,
wasn't homework,
well,
so I didn't do it.
great,
it's fine.
great. Well, so then Mike, hi.
I've seen a couple of them before.
Yeah. So one of the deleted scenes is after, as you know, as in the sort of epilogue, where and it seems like it was intended to be the final shot of the movie originally, right?
Mhm.
Where Riker is, they have their scene in the ready room, and then Riker goes out into the bridge and meets the new first officer, and tells him that in any advice, and he tells the guy, he's like, yeah, and the guy looks very sort of like nervous and uptight and very sort of like call back to Riker at Encounter Farpoint, and Riker says to him, what he loves to be called Jean-Luc. He likes a more informal setting, and so he leaves. Goodbye. And then there's this great moment where he's like, the new first officer meets the captain for the first time, and then casually calls him Jean-Luc, and then he turns around and like gets like daggers, and then immediately is like, I'm beginning to realize that Captain Riker was having some fun at my expense. I apologize. And that's the scene. And then they kind of go about their bridge business, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Captain Picard is like sort of going about, it's like they're starting, and that starts their new life as a new crew,
Right.
which
He gets a new chair with seat.
so the whole story of this
Belts.
movie was meant to be like a turning of the page, like as people
Yeah.
move on to new parts of their lives, and how do their relationships change with that, and all of that was cut out to become an action movie. So when you look at the
Yeah.
fucking dune buggy scene, you're like, this is what we're getting.
Right.
Mm.
And it's like cool to look at, and yeah, it looks like, I'm sure it's fun having Worf on a machine gun, I guess.
Damn
But,
right. That was cool.
That was
I
cool.
was like, yes.
right, and you're, but like I don't know. This is my problem with like trying to like impose this like action adventure genre.
Absolutely. Because all the stuff that was cut was like there's a long scene between Picard and Data after where they're drinking wine to celebrate, and it's this conversation about the passage of time and people come and leave our lives and how that makes us sad. That is kind of what the movie is about. But
Well, you know what it is,
the
Mike.
end
It mirrors the
product,
it mirrors the Picard speech at the
yeah,
end of Skin of Evil after Tasha dies, and Data is essentially saying, "Help me understand the way that I feel around this event. I'm not, my thoughts are not for myself or not for Tasha, but for myself because I miss her essentially." And he's like, "Yeah, you did it right." And then they have
yeah.
this other conversation, like, how do you have these emotional experiences of like a joyful thing of your closest friends getting married and a sad thing if you're losing them from your day-to-day life, and like it is just about how they process complex emotions, and happy, sad for the people that you love.
Okay.
Do you
It's
think
like
that
how am I supposed to feel at a funeral? This is like, how am I supposed to feel at a
right?
wedding?
Yeah, like why are people crying at a wedding? Like, how are they experiencing joy and sorrow at the same time? Um, do you think that Data has just given up on having an emotion chip? Like,
Did he
he
not put it
doesn't
back in
seem
after?
emotional in this movie. I don't know.
He seems resolved in this movie. I think that the emotion, if he does have his emotion chip in, he he's not it's not sad emotions. I feel like everything, all of the choices that he's made, even with before and
Hmm.
sacrificing himself, show a growth in him. Like it wasn't super over the top. It was like, yeah, he's my brother. Of course I'm gonna give him all this information. Yep. And then he wasn't super sad like when he had to shut him down, but you could tell he was empathizing, like he had sympathy for the fact that he had to turn him off.
Hmm.
Like he didn't even allow him to finish the sentence because I think it's like, oh no, that's
Yeah.
too much for me to handle. Then him
Okay.
going and sticking the little, I think that his emotions have grown. Like he's in one way he's become slightly more human and slightly being able to manage
He's
the
in
balance,
control
but
of them.
he's more in control of them. Yeah.
That makes sense. I buy that. I buy that.
Yeah.
Um, okay, let's jump back into the plot and see where that leads the conversation. So then Picard gets a Zoom call from Admiral Janeway,
Can I
which is fun to see Kate Mulgrew.
She
Yeah.
looks so good. I was sitting there in the
Yes.
restaurant like, it's Janeway. I was not, see,
She
again,
looks
I love the
great
fact that
in
I
that
knew nothing about this
uniform.
fucking movie. And I was like, this is what I'm talking about.
It's like it is because we're in this era of like both of the noteworthy successor shows to Next Generation. The Berman shows had ended by that point. I mean,
Yeah.
there's another one that they did after supposedly, but
Oh my God.
Deep Space Nine and Voyager had ended, and so they needed some way to like recognize those.
Oh,
I
so
think there's a
great.
lot of fans
Well,
who would have been disappointed if there was nothing.
according to Jerry Ryan, he was offered a role in this movie to be a guest at the wedding,
Oh, can we talk about
and
this? Is a
she turned it.
larger.
Is
So
it?
I love how they
yes.
both pause. This is a, can we?
No,
Can they?
I was like,
Like the
is
both
your
of you.
internet working, Mike?
Well, part of it
No,
is Mike's internet.
Yeah,
You're
Part of it
skipping a
is
little
my
bit.
Nobody's great though because
internet. Yeah,
both
I
of you
keep
paused.
getting the internet signal.
It's all right. You're fine.
Is it my turn to talk?
Yeah,
No,
yes.
it started because it came back to Marina Sirtis because they apparently came to her with a really insulting financial offer to come back
Mm.
and do the film.
Oh,
And she said, absolutely not. She's like, I won't do it for that. And so their initial response to that was to then replace her with Jerry Ryan. And so it would be the
oh,
6 main crew members minus Troy and adding Seven of Nine. And Seven of Nine was just at that point doing Boston Legal. So she was like, and there was still very much this idea of like a Star Trek curse on actors, right?
yeah.
That a lot of them don't have great careers doing other things afterwards. And so it was really important to her to like branch out and do this other thing. So that was part of it. But another part of it was the money wasn't good. And
Yeah.
another part of it is she's like, why does this make any sense that I'm with this crew? I don't know these people.
Correct.
Why would she
Yeah.
be
And
invited
so
to the
then
wedding? Yeah.
Chris said, "Will you do a cameo as a guest at Riker and Troy's wedding?" And she literally was like, "I don't know Riker and Troy. Why would I be at their wedding? Makes no sense."
It makes no sense.
Oh.
They're stupid. Okay, we can move on. People are
So
dumb.
It
they
almost
eventually went back to Marina
sounds
Sirtis,
like
and she.
I think she was being used as just like a pawn, as a threat
Mm,
to try to get Marina to take the lower amount of money, which is very Hollywood and very shitty and very Rick Berman, frankly.
Oh, absolutely.
So there's that. Okay, where was I?
The call from the Zoom call from Janeway.
Yes, Admiral. Thank you.
Ahead of their time.
Okay.
Like, does no one ever
Janeway
hold
orders
on,
the
hold on, Mike Jones,
pies.
hold on. I know, I'm
yeah.
interrupting. Can we pause for a moment just to like recognize the fact that Star Trek was on the front line of communication
Oh yeah.
modes before, like, I don't like in the 60s, Nextel chirping on screen. What are we talking about? Like, you're talking to another ship somewhere else. Like, they couldn't do that then. But somebody in their brain said, "Hey, I can talk to you up there." Like,
Mike is in fucking Florida, and we're all looking at each other talking in real time. It's amazing.
It blows my mind that like this show introduced in general, like maybe other people, but to me, it's like Star Trek introduced all of these different modes of communication that we use fucking today. Yeah. Like, what are we talking about? But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry. It's amazing. Every time I think about it, I'm like, he flipped the thing open and you talking to somebody, what, miles in the sky, back at the ship. What? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
The internet connectivity issues that I'm having, though.
I blame Tim O'Donnell. What is he doing?
He's doing his mom's taxes right now, so I don't know why.
Clearly using all of your bandwidth.
All of the bandwidth.
I'm gonna write a strongly worded email right now.
All right, so the Enterprise is ordered to go to Romulus to meet the new Romulan Praetor, who rumor has it is Riemann. So this is kind of a cool thing. It goes all the way back to the original series because Romulus and Remus, which is a reference to Roman mythology, brothers. When in the episode, oh my God, it just left me. The Balance of Terror. They show a map of the neutral zone, and there is a planet named, Remus, and I think it's spelled differently and stuff, whatever. Anyway, but this kind of goes back all the way to there. We've never talked about the twin planet that Romulus has, Remus, and we find out that it is locked so that one half is always in dark and the other half is always in light, and it's too close to the sun, so that everyone lives in the dark side. What we don't learn here is that the Remans are like Nosferatus for some reason. Like they
all look like orcs.
I don't
why
don't they just look like
Romulans? Inspiration. Yeah.
Like why? I don't understand why these because like Vulcans look exactly like Romulans. So why did these guys look like orcs?
Right. It's weird.
Because
to make them obviously
any vitamin.
Evil?
Yeah.
They all have scurvy.
It's like,
scurvy,
that's what happened.
You fangs.
Well, theoretically, like if we're really all right, so if we're actually going to ask this question, right?
Yes, Damazon, we
are. The Romulans are an offshoot of the Vulcans, right? Mm-hmm. So that when they were a warlike people and that the teachings of please come at me if I'm getting this wrong. The teachings of Surak and logic and all of that became prevalent in the culture, and the people who wanted to remain warlike left and settled on another planet, and that became Romulus.
Mm-hmm. I think that's the idea.
Which is just to say maybe the Remans were already living on that planet and were not connected to any of this, and they were just another race that happened to live there that the Romulans subjugated.
Oh,
okay.
But if you're like everything about the Romulans is so steeped in Roman
Yeah.
militarism and imperial sort of customs and mythology, I would say, because so in the original mythology, Rome was founded by the brothers Romulus and Remus,
Hmm.
and then eventually Romulus subjugated Remus and killed him, and Rome
Hmm.
thrived.
Well.
And yeah, and they've mirrored that here. I mean, Remans, they don't exactly say that the Remans are their slaves, but they say that it's like a caste system, and that the
Mm-hmm.
Remans are used as cannon fodder in the
Labor
wars,
class.
and that they work in the mine.
Yeah.
Um,
So they kind of are.
Yeah.
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 Like,
So
like
on
in
the
a way
one
they
hand,
kind of
it's
are.
like, woo, yay, the Remans revolted against their like
Yes.
owners.
Overlords. Mm-hmm.
Um, right? Overlords,
Mm-hmm.
um, with the, help and manipulation of this clone. Um, but it's complicated. More about it. So,
Mm-hmm. Keep going.
okay.
So many questions.
We get our first look at Avatar, Shinzon's ship. We haven't met Shinzon yet. It's huge, it's a predator, it's well armed. Um, our hero came over, and it looks like no one paid the electric bill on the scimitar because it's super dark. But
Mm-hmm.
that's because the Remans like live in the dark, so it does make sense. And we finally meet Shinzon. He's Tom Hardy,
Yo,
who is apparently a
hold,
clone of Picard.
pause. Let's be clear that I was like, when they got there, I was like, okay, it's dark. We've learned that these people live in the darkness. Cool. My man coming out
Right.
in shadow, and then the camera swing around to the back of that bald, like it's like a waxed head. Like it wasn't shaved, like it's the baldest of bald heads. And just that single light as he's descending the stairs, talking. You don't get to see his face. I'm like, oh, swing back around slightly more, but you still don't see anything. I'm like, show this back. And then eventually, when I see his face, I'm like, why do I know this person? Then I go to the Google. I'm like, because I just want to know who it is. It's like fucking Tom Hardy. Like he was so young and so like
Yeah.
model-esque and
Mhm.
Oh, he was
like
very
He's
pretty at that age,
25.
like in
Yeah.
that part of his life,
very. How old was he?
outside of costume.
How
Yeah.
old was he? You said
25?
25?
25.
Oh, wow.
Stunnerina.
Yeah.
I do have keep going, because keep going.
Oh, yeah. No, no. I was just gonna say, so I tend to identify, I see the world through a Star Trek lens, so I tend to identify actors as whoever I met them as. So
Mm-hmm.
whenever anyone mentions Tom Hardy, whether it's some like,
Oh,
whether it's
same.
he's playing Bane, um, or if he's in some Oscar movie, I'm like, oh yeah, Shinzon. Like that's my brain just goes right there. He'll always forever on.
So you mentioned Bane.
But
Okay, I
anyway,
was going to tell you to keep going. No, no, no. See, you mentioned Bane, and that's where I was
go
going
ahead.
because I literally was like,
Hmm.
I had to look
Bane is
out
a
when did
Batman villain, yeah?
no fuck.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, and he's got
Yes.
a
I'm
he's.
asking.
"Oh, I was born in darkness, right? And I said to myself, when did
Oh,
Batman
it's
come?
the same
When was
character.
Bane? When was Bane created? When was this movie out? Bane was created in like 95 or 93, introduced in the Batman world.
Yeah.
This movie came out in 2002. I was like, so somebody had to have read that because, or I don't know if like the story of him being taken down to the mines and being in the darkness. Bane was like born in the darkness in this prison, and that's why he wears a mask and his eyes, the whole thing. I was like, it's too similar. I don't know, chicken or egg situation, but I literally was like, oh, this is the story of Bane, but in Star Trek. Because,
Just like
I was just a boy when they took me to the mines.
just like Mother Gothel and Donna Murphy.
Correct.
You really, I mean, there are only five stories, right? I mean, that's what they say. Like there are only five plots in fiction, and I only like
Really?
three of them. So
Oh, what are the
that's what
five?
they say. That there's a real theory that like yeah, like it comes down to like five basic. I think it's five basic plots. If you go into
Hmm.
like if you study storytelling as a anyway whatever.
I'm gonna deep dive that
Okay,
this evening. Go
enough
ahead.
about dreamy Tom Hardy. Um, Although I did, it's so random. I said enough, but now we're doing more. Um, I went to this like Star Trek exhibit thing once, where they had like props and they had a couple captain's chairs, and they had his costume, his
Outfit?
like shiny,
Yeah.
outfit,
A
Nice.
sweat
la the
stained.
cell.
It
You could
looks
tell
great. The
that thing
costumes
did
in this look
not
great.
breathe.
It
Like
you know
poor
what it
Tom
remind
Hardy.
but you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of the cell when what's his face is descending the like the way that they had him coming down the stairs again.
Mm.
Just referential. I don't know, my brain just starts to like link movies together. And like I wanted the cape to be like hooked up because in the cell his there are hooks in his back but the fabric is attached to it, so he's coming down the stairs and this huge cape going down the back. I was like, oh,
Oh.
here we are. That's what I wanted for that to
Well, so it's
happen
interesting
there.
because there's another cut scene where that is Shinzon's first appearance in the movie, which is sort of like behind it's sort of happens in the Senate with other Romulans, and it's sort of him, we watch him wield power and it gives some like
Oh.
Romulan political intrigue. But it was the director who was like, this totally ruins the power of, yes,
Mm-hmm.
what is interesting about that coming down the stairs moment, yes, that it's Picard's first time seeing him, but also like who cares
Hours.
if the audience has already seen him.
Now here's a question. I know heard this apocryphally, but I couldn't find it in my um, quick internet research over this weekend. Um, there must have been a version of the script where Patrick Stewart played both roles, right? Where because he is a
What they
clone
CGI'd
of
it.
Picard.
Yes,
Oh, because they
There's
CGI'd
no
his
I
face.
think
reason
there
that the
was a
clone
version of
needs to
that.
be
Yes.
younger. If the accelerated aging thing, they said he was supposed to have accelerated aging. Um, what would that scene have been like to see Patrick Stewart walk out of the shadows and look at himself?
And actually see a
Would it
mirror.
have,
Because that I feel like that line may
yeah,
have hit more. However, I think that him being younger, he doesn't have the wisdom of age. Like the same way that Sam spoiler for anybody
hmm
who's like this is but the same way that Sam only had 3 days of life coming to cadet school first
hmm
versus coming back having lived a full life, it's a different attitude, a different maturity.
absolutely.
So Tom Hardy, or what's the man's name? I just watched the movie.
Shinzon.
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 Shinzon. He is still in the teenage, here's my dick on the table vibe versus Picard, who's like, I don't got to show you it. Everybody knows it's big. I've got the wisdom to know how to like maneuver and do things in a different way, a la put that fucker's thrusters on and ram this ship down his throat type of deal. Like, so I think that it made sense that he was younger because he's got a different level of he's like got a one note that
hmm
plays well. Because I was like, I don't understand. Like, I don't understand the point of this movie. I know movies are for entertainment, blah, blah, but I just don't understand what he
Yeah,
was so angry about, why he wanted to destroy all of Earth, why he
yeah,
wanted to destroy the Federation. The
yeah.
Romulans cloned you, they made you, so why didn't you want to, or did they, or whoever made him, someone else came in power, so why don't you want to ruin the people who made you? Like, Picard had shit to
Yeah.
do with any of this. Am I sound do I
Right.
am I
Yeah,
making sense?
it's like they came up with a bunch of reasons, and a lot of
Yes.
them were, and not a single one compelling one.
No.
The one part that it made sense to me was that he was dying and that he needed Picard for that. That's literally
Okay.
the only thing that.
Right.
But then why do you
Great.
want to destroy Earth? Like
Right.
who cares about
Like the whole
Earth?
thing
You
of,
What?
don't
oh,
even
who am
know any
I?
other humans. Like why you've
Who
never
am
met
I if
another
you correct? Who am I
Well,
if you're here?
it's
The same
nature
fucking
versus
person you
nurture,
were.
right? I mean, the
Yeah.
question is if Picard had, and we know that he actually did have a kind of crappy childhood, but if he had had an even worse life, would
Yeah.
he be a like crazy, destroy whole civilizations maniac? I guess so. That's what we learned in this movie. Um,
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that scene where Shinzon is invited Picard down to have some tea, um,
He's not
and
drinking Earl
they
Grey. He's just drinking regular
Tea.
ass tea,
Yep.
hot.
Hot.
Yep. They don't have
Wrong,
that in
sir.
Romulus.
It needs to be Earl Grey. Thank you.
um, so but the scene at the table in the Senate chamber where
Hmm.
uh it's it's scene that was used for Tom Hardy's screen test, like that you can find that on YouTube. And they filmed it in the Enterprise set, which Damien, Enterprise was a show that happened after
I keep
anyway,
keep hearing people talk about
uh,
this.
It had that guy from Quantum Leap in it.
right.
Hmm. There were lots of
But it
men.
is a good scene because
lots of
like
white men.
they there's a lot of subtext, and you kind of like they're both trying to get things something out of the one
Hmm.
that the other one doesn't want to give, and there's lies, and there's I mean it is a fascinating scene. They're looking into a mirror, but it's like a funhouse mirror where they're not seeing exactly themselves. They're seeing a different version of themselves from a different
Hmm.
reality almost. But that scene doesn't really it doesn't do anything because
Right. That's the scene where
he just
I
it's going to
like
drain.
stopped and said, why am I not interested in this? Like why
Because
do
they're
I
not saying anything.
Yeah,
Because you're saying a lot of nothing. Like, as much as I enjoyed the tension and
yeah.
the cat and mouse back and forth play of it, that's why I'm like, what is the point? Like, I feel like I want to like flip a table card to be like, what was the reason? Like, what are we doing? Like, no one at any point said, maybe we should give a little more background or weight to why why he's so mad.
Yeah, the reasoning is, you know, well, yeah. So he doesn't want to just he doesn't want to seek peace. He
No.
lies and says that he is looking for peace. I don't know why he did that. He did not need to do that. He had Picard right there. He could have just like zapped him and taken all his blood and moved on with his life. But
That
whatever.
also didn't make
Um,
sense to me. Like the whole let me make sure that he gets back and then I'm gonna steal him again. Like, why?
right,
why would he ever let him leave the first time?
It just very much was
right.
like, it almost kind of brought me out of it a little bit because it was like, oh, I'm watching a movie and they're just coming up with scenes because they need to make the movie
Yes,
longer.
yes.
But it's like you
But
didn't
the
need
movie was
those
already too
scenes.
long.
You cut
And they
some
cut out
that
all the
you-
good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, and then thank goodness they did that data dump into B4 because that was plan all along. Because he beams B4 back to the ship to like get all the like tactical information out of him. It's like, well, how did you know they would do that? Like, what? um, okay, but we have to talk about what happens to Deanna Troy in this movie. It
I
happens to her
mad.
over and over.
Ready? Always fucking with her betazoid side. Bang. Literally the sentence. Like, why? Like,
I just
let that woman be.
it felt like fucking with a woman for the
Yes.
sake of fucking with a woman. Like it just there's
Yes.
so many scenes like this in so many movies where it's like, let's just throw in like a sexual assault just cuz, and it's like, why?
Right.
You
Right.
really didn't have to do that. Like, and it was just so ugly. Like that's
Right.
their
And
fucking
why did
honeymoon.
he do that?
They're about to have sex for the first
What
time
was
right
the
after
point
they
of that
got
at all?
married.
After
and
they
you're
got
like,
married and you defiled their
it just
marriage
was like,
bed.
why did you do that? You could have, it could have been some sort of like mental thing and any type of other situation, but you had to make it sexual. You had to
Yep.
sexually assault the woman.
Right.
And it's
Yep.
just like, fuck Hollywood for this shit. I'm so sick of
Right.
this.
Oh, it was gross.
Well, there
Yeah.
were
Gross.
rape scenes. They cut one of them.
Huh?
But
Wait,
Yeah, there's
cut
another one
another
that happened
rape
in the
scene?
Yeah.
turbolift.
Jesus.
they did. Yeah. There's a
Christ.
scene where she's in a turbolift by herself and the camera goes around and then you see he's behind her. And he like, it's the same thing. It's like another like psychological rape scene. And then he disappears and she like collapses on the floor. Um, It also pisses me off that in the sick bay, she's like, it was a violation. Like,
Yes.
I need to
Yes.
take some PTO. And
And
Picard's
he's
like,
like,
no,
no.
I
He's
need
like,
you by my
no.
side.
And Riker
Deal with
agrees.
it. Just deal with more sexual assault right in front of everybody. Is
Yeah,
that cool? Is that cool? It's just like, especially watching this in the context of right now, and I'm
Yeah.
Mhm.
so fucking sensitive to this shit right now. And like, it was just like, why? And Picard, man, what? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
did
he
not like
basically
that.
is just like,
Well.
if you wouldn't mind just like continuing to be raped, it would really help us out.
Right.
Pretty much. That is pretty much what he
Pretty
said.
much what
It
they
made
say in
me
that
so angry.
Yeah, it's and also like it feels so part of the reason I think it feels super gratuitous. One, because we've seen it happen to her so many times, right?
Always
Yeah.
fucking with her.
Yes.
They're always using the fact that she is an empath, that she
Mhm.
can sense things, but she can't because she's halvesies. She's like, it's sometimey. Like I can do it, but it's not as strong as my mother's, right? Like
Right.
they're always making it seem it's like making a point that she is not as great of a betazoid as she could be because she's half. Like it's just
It's interesting.
But also the perpetrator in the story had no story
Motive.
related purpose to be doing it to her.
No.
There was nothing that he
No.
was trying to get. It was literally just
let me destroy
and it was like
her.
that he used his viceroy to help him do it. Like the viceroy
Yeah.
had the mental power supposedly, and
But he did show, but here's the thing. We should have known something was going to happen because when they were first in the Coliseum, he was like,
Mhm.
"Oh, I've heard of you, but no one told me you were that beautiful." And it's sort of like
Right. Cannot your hair.
it's like he's an incel. It's like the dude who's never been
Mm.
who's never been around women has just heard of them. There's this other person who's like you, but they're not like you. They have this, and they're called women, and they will want you, and all you have to do is present yourself. And the minute that what someone has told you
Right.
you should do doesn't happen, it's like, oh, then I'm gonna murder you in your sleep. Oh, you said
Because
no
he's
to
not
me?
attracted to Romulan women. I mean,
No,
she like tries
no.
to manipulate him using her sexual wiles, and he's like, ew.
If you ever touch me again, I will
yeah,
fucking kill you.
Right.
yeah.
That's when she said, oh, okay, I get
He's
it.
got some problem with women.
He's got problem with women.
He's got some misogyny issues
got a
to work
problem.
through.
And that's where she said, well, I'm done with this game. What's the matter with you? Why is he touching you in your... Oh, let me see what's happening there. Oh, I think we've jumped ahead. Sorry. She was just on some old...
No, it's
Let me
fine.
look back through the door. The door that's completely open and is a gate.
Mm-hmm. And then the guards, like, I kind of expected the guard to turn around and be like, get out of here.
In here,
But
something.
they just
Nope.
were like, that's cool. You can just watch through this gate.
It's like they're like the London, the guards outside of Buckingham Palace. They're like, we just stand straight. We stare straight. We don't see what's happening on the left or the right. She's gone through the
Right.
door. She's behind us now.
That's amazing. Okay, so Picard is transported to the scimitar, and they're going to take his blood. And I don't
Is this where
exactly
he's hooked
remember
up in the
why
thing?
he's left. He's
This
hooked
is where
up in
he's
the
in
thing.
the thing. Yeah,
before-
okay.
They beamed before over to get the information, and they're letting before just walk around free. Like they didn't just take the information and deactivate him. So, they leave before and Picard alone together, and surprise, before is actually Data.
It's Data.
The way that you were describing this just now, I was like, Mike, did you not get that was Data? You just like, did you
But
miss
I'm like,
that
why
part?
would why if they thought it was
Question
before
remains.
and they got
Question
the data,
remains.
they got the information out of him, they would just turn off. They're done with him. But instead, they're like, hey, you can just hang out. You can, just be part of the crew.
Well, I think it was more like
You
he's
can-
nothing. Like he means nothing to them. So
Yeah.
now that I've gotten what I need from you, like I don't even recognize that you're in my presence anymore. Like I don't see you.
Fair enough.
Oh, yeah,
It
there's
very
an
much felt
arrogance
like
there.
I'm a server.
Air and a
And
spare. I
sometimes,
love it.
yeah, you get that energy from people where they like, oh, I ordered my drink and now I'm just gonna go back to my disgusting conversation or whatever. And it's like, no, no, no,
Yeah.
I'm still right here. You just forgot because I don't mean anything to you because I'm less than. Like that's the kind of vibe I got from that, where I was not surprised that they left
It's
him in there.
arrogance.
Yeah.
It's arrogant. Okay, you're right.
My actual,
Um,
I think in those moments, I think I had this moment when they do the profile shot of like Data first looking at Before's head earlier on in the movie,
Mm.
and then again in that sort of like mistaken identity moment, right, that they perpetrate, is that we've already seen these moments because we watched a show called Star Trek: The Next Generation, and they've done episodes with lore, right? And they don't mention lore, and none of this necessarily contradicts anything that's happened to lore, another android, but it happens again. But that like that the impact of that moment of Data seeing an identical head to his own, that in like the context of maybe if this were the only thing that you'd ever seen, you'd be like, oh, that's crazy. But we all watch Star Trek and we've
Yeah.
seen
Right.
this shit before. This is
We saw
not
bad
like
Data.
a new enough. Yes, it's a new chapter to the story. It's a different android, but I'm like, we've already seen this moment,
yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
right? And we've already seen that. Ooh, guess what? It's actually lore. Ooh, guess what? It's
Right.
actually Data. Like
Well, you know who didn't know that?
John Logan.
The director, because he'd never watched any Star Trek.
Oh, can we talk about the director?
Oh.
So now you're going to tell me the things that make the sense of why this makes no
Why
sense.
this is the way it is.
Yeah.
I mean, can we? I mean,
No, we got to finish the movie and then you'll go
we'll finish the
into your
movie,
thing,
then we'll
and
come back because
we'll.
then it involves
Okay,
the
okay.
screenwriter. This is all stuff that we got to tell a little BTS story. So
Yes.
All right, we're getting there. So
Mhm.
suddenly it's a video game,
A
and
slog.
Data and Picard are flying this little ship around inside the ship, which tells me that the writers used to play Descent on the PC because it's like exactly the same. So the Romulans are losing their patience with Shinzon, and we learn that he doesn't want to just or he wants to use his crazy Phalon radiation weapon to kill every living thing on Earth. Finally, Crusher gets a scene where she reveals that Shinzon is dying from the genetic instability and needs Picard's blood.
I love the way you say
Data
that.
shuts
Crusher
down
gets a
before
scene.
in a very sad scene.
Because she hasn't had one. She's
I
been
know.
around the table talking when they were doing their whole, like everybody's around the table. Beverly says nothing.
She had a lot of deleted
Right.
scenes from the
She
wedding.
did.
She has one moment with the picture of Picard where he's like, "Remember this guy?" And she doesn't say no because you had Hair Academy because we saw
can
that
I-
in Tapestry.
I have something to say about that. I don't know if maybe I'm so used to like how they've dumbed television down lately so that we can like play on our phones and watch TV and follow the story. But or maybe I'm just a dummy. But
No,
like
that's what they've done.
it didn't occur to me immediately that he was a clone in the scene. And I almost wish there had been like a photo of him or something from earlier. Like it didn't have to be the reveal. Like we don't have to know that's Tom Hardy in the scene, but like maybe him and Beverly are like looking through old photos or something. And so when the reveal happens, it's like, oh, that's him. But the reveal happened and I was like, oh, another bald guy. Okay,
Right.
it makes sense now. I get okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
like had they seen shown that picture of him younger earlier in the
Right.
movie and seen
Yeah, it would have been like a lot more of like a woo moment for me,
Yeah.
but instead I was like, who's this other bald guy? Maybe I'm just dumb. I don't know.
Well, no, and what I was saying earlier about if Patrick Stewart had played both roles, like that scene would have been like, whoa, what is happening? But we don't know what's going on until he gives them some of his blood to analyze in a very movie way, which is slashing his whole hand open with a knife. Like that's the only
And
way
then
to
giving
put it
them
in a
the
movie.
knife.
Um,
So ridiculous.
Right.
I can't.
I wanted them to beam away and him being like, ow, ow, okay, regenerator. Fix this. Anyway. Okay. Data and
It's so
Picard
long,
have a
you don't
scene
even
where
know.
they
Yep.
discuss
See,
nurture
look.
versus nature.
Yep.
I know. I'm like, where are we in this
We're
movie?
like
Okay,
halfway
then
through.
boom, it's a cloaked ambush. The Enterprise
Halfway through,
starts fighting the
Leigh Ellen.
scimitar.
My God.
It is not good. The Enterprise is losing.
Correct.
Picard
Badly.
tries to get through to Shinzon in that holographic thing. Then Romulan warbirds show up and they want to help because
She
they're
said
suddenly against
he,
Shinzon because
yes, because he lied.
he's
He big
crazy.
lied. He's crazy. Like they it was.
Right.
Here's the thing: is that they realize that he's batshit crazy. Like he
Right.
had like there's like, oh yeah, we can fight against the Federation. Yeah, neutral zone. Da, da. But then was like, wait, you want to destroy every living? Like for what? Like
Right.
Why?
we didn't sign up for that.
Why?
Why?
And we're happy that the Romulans have come around and we want to make peace with them, but also
Are they really? I was like, is this a fucking
they
trick? But
slay
then
the Wingmans. They're
yeah,
not good people.
no. But in this instance, it was like, enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah.
Enemy of my enemy. Exactly. Um,
We'll fight about that
all
later.
right. So then the Enterprise is boarded. Riker and the Viceroy have a fight where Riker tosses him down a bottomless cavern that somehow exists on a ship with 24 decks.
Can you explain to me why? Okay. All right. That scene was so unnecessarily long. They're fighting, we go to something else. We come back, they still fighting.
They're still
We
fighting.
go to something else. We come back, they're still fucking fighting. What?
Right. And it's one of those fights that you watch and you're like, even if it were super interesting visually, which it could be at various points, it was interesting to look at.
Yeah.
And there were, cool fight moments or
Cool
whatever
choreography.
here and there, but there was no sense along the way. You're like, what are they fighting for? So I guess they're trying to take over the ship. And
Well,
he's
are
trying to get
they
rid of them, but you're
are
like,
they
where's this
on
going? Where's
are
it
they
moving the
on
story?
Shinzon ship? Because I got
No.
confused during the
They're on the
fight.
Enterprise.
They're on the Enterprise.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because at one point I was like, wait, are they on Shinzon ship? But the Enterprise just crashed into it. Like, how the fuck did Riker get back? Okay, that makes more sense to me. I had to go
Yeah.
back and
Does
rewatch
it?
that scene, and I still got lost.
Does it make sense?
It
No.
It makes more sense that at least
confusing.
he was on the ship that made sense to me.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's funny. You just said that they crashed into and that hadn't even happened yet. So it does get really muddy. So that's the thing. The Enterprise rams into the scimitar.
Which is badass.
When I saw the
Yeah.
movie back in 2002, I was like, damn, this
Yeah,
is
that was-
amazing.
That
right
was really
now,
good.
right now in 2026 on my little phone screen, like that was badass. Where
Yeah.
he said, we have nothing. He was like, oh, but we do. We have impulse. Okay, question. Point of reference. How fast is impulse power? Like we know that planes travel like 500 miles an hour, right?
Very much faster than that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Impulse power is very, very fast.
Give it to me in like a car. So like if warp speed is 200 on the what's that road in Germany,
The
Belfast?
Autobahn.
Autobahn. Right? You can go like up to 300 miles an hour. That's warp 1. How fast is impulse? Half that? Quarter that.
I mean,
Like-
it's sub light speed. Okay, I just Googled it.
Thank
and
you.
Of course, a nerd gave me the answer on the internet. A full impulse speed is defined as 1/4 of the speed of light, so 167 million miles per hour.
Jesus.
It's fast.
Pretty fast to run
That's
into another
full
ship.
impulse.
No,
Yeah.
but the reason I ask is because I've never really understood speed in space. Like as just a concept, like in general, when they're like, oh, let's do half impulse, I'm like, that seems like it's going to creep. But apparently it's not creeping. It's because in my head, warp speed is like when it goes bloop, bloop, it's like a blink. We're traveling at warp 10. We're a cheetah running versus, a rabbit hopping along. I don't know. It's okay. All right. But that was badass. Back to my original point. Him being like, oh, he's me when I'm overconfident. That's why I said him being a younger version of Picard worked well because he said,
Yeah, you're right.
I know that me. That me is that I am the biggest, baddest mofo there is, not learning that there's skill in this. So when he said, impulse, go forward. He wants to look me in my eye again, throw his dick on the table. Picard said, "Well, there's yours. Here's mine. And we're gonna play chicken, and I'm gonna win."
Yeah.
Crumple, like the whole, I can imagine that on a huge screen, the sound in like
Yeah.
Dolby with the crumpling of that sucker just like crushing the front of the, so great.
And
So
apparently
great.
that was one of the few physical ship effects that they did in the movie, that they actually built a model. Because this Enterprise, apparently in this movie, is CGI, that they built a model to blow up that way.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Pretty cool,
Yeah.
right?
It was really cool. So Picard beams over to the scimitar, which
Yes.
blows out the transporter so he can't beam back.
Yep.
Data out an airlock, well, not an airlock, but he flies through space to get
Which
to the
is
scimitar,
cool.
That was pretty
which
cool too.
is
Yeah.
actually kind of cool.
Yes. Can we just backtrack for a second? I don't ever want to be sucked out of
Yeah.
a ship into space. That shit was wild. Because remember how in one of those other movies, like what did we learn? What were we looking at? Oh, in boop 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 boop, tall, skinny dude, Alfre Woodard, First Contact.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When
Zephyr Cochrane.
what is
Different. Yeah.
yeah, I don't care about him. When Alfre Woodard's on the ship with Picard, and it's like,
portal.
well, where are the windows? The portals, they're like the holographic keeping
Force field.
everything.
Yeah.
Force field. Thank you. Words.
I feel like we're playing Pyramid.
We are. The
Right.
fact that it took so long for that
password is-
force field to come back. One of my favorite shows, Super Passwords, even better.
Mm.
That man getting sucked out into space, I was like, damn, that sucks. You're frozen immediately. And it took forever for the force field to come back and everyone's
know.
holding on. I was like, that's
Yeah.
a terrible way to go.
Yeah,
That was
because he
I was
blew
like,
the front of the bridge off so he could like get eye to eye
yeah,
with him.
wild.
That was also a cool moment.
Okay, go ahead. He's on the other
There
ship.
are some as much I don't like when Star Trek tries to be an action film, some of the like ship sequences were really cool in the movie. So Picard and Shinzon, Picard kills Shinzon after he gets impaled that thing, and then he like pulls himself whoa.
Which is wild.
I was like,
Also-
why? Why?
Why?
Why?
'Cause it's
Well,
badass.
one of the reviews that I watched of this, I think it was Sean Ferrick, said this is the moment to have Patrick Stewart play both of them. That as he dies, his like temporal like he ages into a very old version of Patrick Stewart.
Oh, that would've
Like
been
rapid
cool.
aging. Which
The rapid
almost was
age,
how
like,
Ruafo dies in the previous movie.
right in the opposite, right?
Hmm.
And find out people don't want to see babies.
So Data shows
die.
up. He flew over there. Of course, Data's going to save the day.
Why is
He
Lanita
slaps
laughing
the
at that?
transporter.
Because you said people don't want to see babies die, and that is such
Yeah.
a funny non sequitur, and like it's real, but it's also like that's why he didn't age down
That's why they
because
didn't do it.
can't
People wanna
can't
see
kill a
babies
baby.
Or a puppy.
Way to ruin your PG rating.
Yes,
The
Data
dramatic
shows
moment
up.
in the movie. Data slaps the transporter
The thing we learned about.
thing onto Picard. Picard, wait, and he transports away. Data says goodbye. Fires at the Thalan generator thing, and it explodes, and he's dead.
I was supposed to feel sad.
Although-
although
Is it
maybe
because
he's
you
not
know
dead.
he comes back?
No, it's because this movie does a bad job of getting me emotionally there to be able to be sad when he died. Like the
I agree
self-sacrifice,
with that.
amazing. Like the self-sacrifice, amazing. Like I know what they wanted from me from that moment,
Mm-hmm.
but it just wasn't there. Like there wasn't enough. I guess they were banking on all of the history that I, as the viewer, know of Data and Picard together from
But were
movies.
they?
Maybe not. But
What were they? Were they doing anything to to any sort of callback or any sort of reference to the length of their relationship, or were they doing anything to pull on those direct heartstrings that you
No,
had going with their relationship already?
no, but that's my point is that they didn't feel the need to add any extra business to harken back. Like this would be the moment in a normal like not a Star Trek movie where in this moment of self-sacrifice there would be a flashback to them. You know what it is? This is where in Wicked they showed them running through the fucking poppies as friends together before
Mm.
she goes off, like showing that there was a relationship. Like we all were sitting here cackling, having a good time. And it makes, when you have to leave that person, it makes an impact. This was just, Data's like, oh yeah, here's the thing. And I guess we're supposed to remember that Picard said 2 hours ago, oh no, we'll both find a way off this fucking ship. Okay. So I'm supposed to be like, oh, Data realizes that, oh, only one of us can get off, and it's got to be you because you're the captain. But I didn't feel like I'm a crier. I
Mhm.
sat on the train this morning and sobbed watching the fourth episode of Paradise, which I'm not going to say what happens because people haven't sobbed, sitting huffed up, sitting next to people on a goddamn path train, trying to keep the snot in my nose because I can't get a tissue. Like, I cry at TV. This was like, I'm sorry, Data's dead.
Yeah.
Cool. Like, and I don't feel that way because I love Data, but there was no like emotional tether to make me
Mm.
like, oh, who dies? Spock. When Spock goes in,
Yeah.
when Spock goes into the radiator situation,
Hmm.
crushed,
Yeah.
gutted. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
what are we talking about? Spock.
Yeah.
Nah, that
This
can't
movie doesn't
happen.
have the emotional resonance that Wrath of Khan,
No,
Bec-
not at all.
and they
because
wanted
Despite
it to.
borrowing
all I'm
heavily from it throughout.
all
Yeah.
I'm thinking is like, what? It's it is because the villain had no real motive.
Right.
Hmm.
There
Hmm.
was no actual motive.
Hmm.
It made no sense.
I'll
Yeah.
tell you, when I saw the movie the time, I was not affected by Data's death because, 10 minutes ago, we had a scene with B4. Like, Data is backed up
Right.
in B4. I was like, before the end of the movie,
Oh,
they're going to turn B4 back on and come to find out Data, like, it worked and he's back. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, this isn't real. Like, they have B4.
Well, also,
And
I
then there's
mean,
the scene where they're like all sad. And that got to me a little bit because I was like, maybe they aren't going to do the B4 thing. But then at the end, he's whistling Blue Skies or whatever.
well, this is
yeah,
very
but
much the
Singing.
callback is clear when Spock in Wrath of Khan
Yeah.
knows that he's going to sacrifice himself. He finds McCoy
Yeah.
and puts his Katra in his head.
correct.
Right.
Right.
Remember.
So it just is like a little sliver of something to be like,
Huh. But that was him. Hmm. Okay.
right. It's the same.
I,
It's the same device. It functions the
yeah.
same way. It
Yeah,
leaves
yeah,
to
yeah.
leak
Absolutely.
out with the audience.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
also because we've seen that before,
Yes.
I very much was like, Data's not really dead
Yeah.
Right.
because we've already seen this
Me
happen,
too.
and the guy who dies comes back to life. We've seen it happen, so he's gonna come back.
Right.
It's fine.
It's so
And I
interesting
hadn't
that
seen Picard at this point.
oh, okay.
Mm.
I just, it's one of those things where, like, I get it that technically data is data, but he was more than, and no, I'm not trying,
Thanks,
I'm just like,
Pulaski.
Yeah,
yeah, like his actual busybody business can be put in another form, in another
Yeah.
android,
He's
not
ones
an
and
android.
zeros.
Yeah, but he's not, but it's like he's not, but he
Right.
is. Again,
Does he have a soul?
taking it to cadet school, like you have to have a lived experience. Like
the cognitive
even though,
pathways and whatnot.
hmm like
Yeah,
his what did they call his neural net had
yeah,
been formed
Hmm.
and changed that B4 didn't have because he just fresh off the boat. Like
Yeah.
it's different. So you're gonna have to give him how many decades to become Data? Will he ever become Data?
Right, and the real issue that they were stuck with, which they eventually fucking figured out a sci-fi MacGuffin, is why is Brent Spiner aging?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they didn't have a long-term plan how the same actor was going to play the same android permanently.
Mm.
Right.
Which, by the way,
That's why
if they
Brent
wanted
Spiner
to
was
figure that out, they could clearly figure that out. Those things are easily, it's the same kind of throwaway, like, why is Guinan aging? Why is the doctor aging? It's this,
right.
these are easy things to explain if you want to.
Yeah,
So
they age so much slower. It's a different type of aging.
Right.
Like Guinan has been alive for thousands of years, so now she's 35. Every 1,000 years is a decade on her body.
Well, and they had already dealt with this in All Good Things. In the future, we see that Dave has like gray in his hair. Like that was a
Yes.
choice that he made. Like it was
Yes.
he could just choose to age, but yeah, I don't know. And even the screenwriter said it recently in an interview on the Dropping Names podcast that like Riker, Jonathan Frakes said, like, when you wrote that scene, did you think Data was really dead? And he was like, no, of course not. Of course, it's sci-fi. He's not really dead. You know what I mean? And the movie feels that way. The writer knew that he wasn't really dead, so we knew he wasn't really dead.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
let's be clear, Spock was dead. The guy, that whole like, okay, his catcher's into, he crispy. He was dead.
Right.
And that's what.
And Leonard Nimoy believed that, but Paramount, they made Nicholas Meyer shoot that like McCoy mind meld thing as like a just in case. Leonard Nimoy didn't walk away from that movie believing that scene was going to be in the movie.
Yeah.
So as far as he was concerned, and as far as Kirk was concerned,
he sacrificed himself.
Also,
it's
Picard makes the toast to absent friends,
yeah,
which is directly lifted from Star Trek 3 about Spock.
Yeah,
Kirk says that about Spock. Yeah.
I will say that Picard still did what he usually does. I'm not gonna say normally because that sounded like bad, but it's not. Where he puts the many before the few. Like, cause every moment where it's like, why are you going over there alone? You dumb. But his moral compass always points towards, I am just one person, and if my sacrifice will save my crew, the world, then that is what I'm going to do. And I do love that has always been a through line every time I see Picard on screen in any form or fashion.
So naturally, it rings true that Data would do the same thing because he learned how to be a human from Picard.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
I was sad that I wasn't sad about it.
Yeah. So now that we've finished the movie, Lanita, how does this rank for you?
Oh, this is the last. This is the worst.
Is this worse than Star Trek 5?
Yeah, I was about to say that's
Five
the
was
one
which one?
Where they meet God.
Finding God with Cybok, his Spock's brother, and she doesn't remember.
I'm gonna tell you,
we did it with Cherub. Hi, Austin.
Hi, Austin.
Oh, with the Cherub. Oh, here's the thing. I was not this mad after that movie, so that is why this is.
No, you're still in a good mood from the one with the whales.
Yeah,
I love the fucking whales.
I don't know if that one or Wrath of Khan is the best, but yeah.
I don't
really good.
I feel like this is a disappointment. Like, that's when your parents were like, it's not that I'm disappointed in you was the worst thing you could say to me. Like, you'd be mad, you'd be sad, but disappointment, stab me in my heart and twist the knife. I'm disappointed in this movie because it had teeny little nuggets of the Star Trek that I know, the characters that I know, but it had huge fucking sinkhole size chasms of bullshit that made no sense, that didn't go anywhere, that was pointless. I kept thinking of other movies while I'm watching this movie, which is not what
Yeah,
happens
that's a
when I'm
red flag.
usually where I'm, because literally I wanted to look up when was the cell made? 2000. So all I can
Mm.
think of is fucking Vincent
Wait.
D'Onofrio coming down those stairs.
Oh,
Cape. All I can think of is Bane, like as a
Mm.
character, like
for me, it was
I'm
like I kept trying to analyze why I was so pissed off and why I
because
was
there
so
was no
pissed.
point.
Right.
There's no point
Once
to
you get to that scene where he and Picard are having tea together and you realize the predicament that they're in, once you realize who he is and what their relationship is and what Picard is to him, you're like, oh, I see the predicament here and wish it was more interesting.
Mm.
also the fact that Tom Hardy plays Bane. Like it's so weird. It's like a mind fuck is really what it is. Because I'm like, you just sort of rehash that character, which is great. Like, I mean, I get it. It started good, so you just filled it with some more stuff for Batman. But
So can we like spin a little BTS story here about like the about this
always,
movie?
let's go.
Please, Mike Jones, I know you know a bunch of this, so like jump in. So we think in about 1997, Brent
Hmm.
Spiner was in the first Broadway revival of 1776 as John Adams on Broadway,
Huh.
where some outlets say he met John Logan doing that. John Logan doesn't appear to have been involved in that production, so I don't quite know how, but in theory, he became friends with John Logan.
He's a playwright. He's a
He's
theater
a
guy.
playwright. John Logan won the Tony for writing the play Red, and he was an Oscar-nominated screenwriter at that point already for Gladiator.
Great
Yes,
movie.
and he wrote what is the James Bond movie that he became famous for?
Skyfall.
Skyfall.
Great
Yeah.
song.
And
Yeah. Like
he is a highly
great song.
acclaimed playwright and screenwriter, and was already both those things when he met Brent Spiner. He was also supposedly a huge Star Trek fan. And we saw him later on the Jonathan Frakes, Brent Spiner, Dropping Names podcast. He was one of the first guests on that. It's a very
great
interesting
interview.
conversation. We recommend, if you haven't watched it, it's interesting to listen to. But that he seemed to know a lot about Star Trek already. Like he was a natural. He knew Next Generation. He knew the characters, and he knew the movies, and he knew which movies he liked. And the movie that he liked obviously was Wrath of Khan.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so he borrowed a lot of this stuff from Wrath of Khan, looking at a true adversary and how does how do you get somebody who has that depth of vengeance that Khan had within the Next Generation universe? And it's interesting to hear him talk about it, but it is but that's sort of how it came, and it also came from the fact that Brent Spiner was friends with him, and the two of them developed this story together. And he had already hoped to die in Insurrection.
Mm-hmm.
And we just watched that movie. There was nothing in that movie that would have made no sense.
Mm-hmm.
But he agreed that he would come back and do Insurrection because he didn't want to, if they killed him. And they said, well, think about it. And then they sent him the script and it says, kill you next time. Yeah. And so that's sort of like how the story came about, right? Because Brent Spiner wanted to die. And so he was working with the screenwriter closely to develop the story as to how that would happen.
The problem is Khan had an actual real bone to pick with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
This clone has no tethers to anyone.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, he has a bone to pick with the Romulans who made
But
him
what
their
the
slave.
fuck does Picard got to do with that?
Does
Or Earth? or
Right.
Yeah.
humans
He
or the
hates that he was
Federation.
made out of Picard.
Okay.
Here's an interesting question. So if you were John Logan and you were, I loved Wrath of Khan. I Brent Spiner's asked me to a Star Trek movie. I'm going to write a Star Trek movie, a Next Generation movie that's like Wrath of Khan. Who should the villain be? And did he come up with there were no characters as good as Picard, so let's make the villain be a Picard clone? Like what antagonist from the 7 seasons of Star Trek that there have been could have been a Khan?
Well,
And I don't know
see
the answer to that.
I
Oh, I
see
was
the
like, has anybody got an
connection
answer?
of like if you're going to kill Data, and the whole point of making this movie is to kill Data.
Mhm.
Data's most significant relationship is with Picard. So
Okay.
it
Correct.
kind of does make sense to make Picard the bad guy in that sense. Like at
Mhm.
knowing this behind the scenes of like we created this whole movie just to kill Data.
Which is a really
Mhm.
interesting way to look at it, but I don't think that the movie looks at it that way. Like the movie doesn't imply a relationship between Data and the villain at all. It's the only villain relationship is with Picard.
Right.
Yeah.
And it
But
is really interesting
that's
because they get these two, these obvious two double stories. It's a double story, right? Like Picard
Right.
has his double and Data has his double. And they're doing this like the journey of the movie is the understanding, is the coming to the belief that what is it to be human?
to
Being
be human
human,
is to make yourself better than you are. That is said verbatim. I wrote it down. That's
yes,
why I have like
yes,
ugh.
right. Data aspires to be better. B4 does not. That's why Data
Mhm.
is human.
Right.
Picard aspires to be better. Shinzon does not. Which you're
Right.
like, that's is that the character journey? Do you know what I mean? Like that's not really a character journey. It's not really a. It's a fascinating thing to understand, but it doesn't provide like a point A, B, C, D and a resolution and a movement from starting one place and ending another place, apart from starting alive and ending dead for Data.
And
I
here
guess.
and here's the thing. I'm sitting here like because I have to do a little Goog situation, like reading the premise of this. The plot follows the Enterprise crew as they confront a new personal enemy. That's the problem. The enemy is personal,
Yes.
singular personal.
Mm.
All of our other enemies are global personal. Like you can be personal, like I hate you, or it can be I hate all of y'all. Right? Like,
Right.
and this one is a, I hate you, but everybody else is getting smoked too, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
I'm just
After
confused. The reason
Well,
Picard,
isn't that
I'm
what a
it would be
mad,
that.
nemesis
I'm
is? Is like a deeply personal kind of enemy.
I'm mad because this shit made no sense. It just that's why I'm mad about it.
Yeah.
Like, because it's like, for what? For why? Why? Nice seeing young Tom Hardy, looks cute. Like seeing that now I know they got married and this is uber adorable. Still don't know why Jordy's eyes are blue, why that man doesn't have a visor, why Data is always trying to put together androids that look like him that aren't him and try to teach them. Sure, okay, like you want everybody, all your little positonic brothers to be human like you. Beverly is doing
He just
what?
wants to play
Nothing.
different as many roles as possible.
Correct.
Like
Mind
Brent
you,
Spiner will be as many
I'm
datas as he can,
as he can. We have
many
to stop
zooms.
letting the landing party be the entire senior crew. Like, what are we doing? Like, they were like,
Someone
let's
said
go
that in
landing.
1987 and they built Next Generation about it and then sort of forgot about it in the movie.
Yes.
Everybody left. I said,
Mhm.
oh, so we're all okay. We're all going.
Yeah.
No,
Everybody's
no
just beaming
senior,
over. They
senior.
could have
There's no
ended
more
right
senior staff.
there. They beam over to the scimitar, and they could have just been like, zap, zap, zap. We have Picard drain his blood. End of movie. You know, it's like Dr. Evil and his son. He's like, I have a gun in my room right now. We could just shoot awesome powers, and this is over. Like, does the villain's plot have to be so stupidly complicated?
It
It's
it it
just
didn't need to be.
predictable.
Can we
No.
talk about the director?
Well,
Oh yeah, keep going. No,
Stuart
look, Mike Jones
Baird.
like, do we
Let's
have
do
to?
We do, because it's got some really interesting Marina bites in there.
mhm.
Um, which now I have to look at the direct quote of what she said, because I did send it to the chat. But she so basically the natural question is, does Jonathan Frakes direct again? Right? Because he directed First Contact, he directed Insurrection. And so at a certain point, they kind of made it clear to him somehow that that's not what they were looking for, right? And then there's a conversation about the other really strong director in the cast at that point was LeVar Burton.
Oh.
And so that was a conversation that was in there at some point, right?
Huh.
And they did not go that way. And
No.
so they found a guy who was a prolific, well-respected editor and had done a couple action movies. And so they brought him in because he was an action movie director. He's the guy who insisted on the dune buggy chase scene. Like that was like his, prized contribution. His name was Stuart Baird.
Mhm.
And he was interested in making his own movie. He was not interested. He didn't watch any Next Generation.
No.
He didn't even manage to learn everybody's names correctly. He is famously remembered as calling LeVar Burton Laverne.
For the first
oh my God.
6 weeks of production. Can you imagine being like, I'm sure LeVar Burton knew at some point that they were talking about him direct movie, and going from that to having a director who calls you Laverne?
Right. Well, and if you're that director, or is that like your passive aggressive way of being like walking in feeling insecure about someone who's like a known director within the franchise and not getting it, and you still have to work with that person, and so you're like digging at them? I don't know.
Oh.
But it was and he was and so knowing that sort of Jonathan Frakes had been carrying the baton, and he might come into the job knowing that he was like working with the previous director, he might have a certain kind of feeling about that. Frakes, being who he is, like went out, had to be like, hey, like welcome to the family. Like if you need any sort of insights on like how people are, any sort of, I'm happy to like share any of my experiences with you, and like and none of that. He didn't take him up on any of that. And then there's all these scenes where a lot of the actors, particularly Jordy and particularly Marina Troy, had moments where they were being directed to do things, and they were like, my character would not do this. This is not how my character would behave.
Correct.
And we did watch that. Mike sent us that little clip of an interview that she did, where she basically was open about having told him that, in the like, because it was like an interview specifically promoting the movie when it came out.
Right.
She was like, well, he was right, he knew what he was doing, I was just resistant. But I don't think that's the story at all.
No, she was towing the company line.
He was for sure towing the company line.
It was like on the promotion tour for the movie.
And literally there's, I always reference this book, The 50-Year Mission, and that has all these direct interviews with everyone involved, and it's like a little section, and each person will get a paragraph, and let's all jump around. Marina's only comment about that movie in her section was, the director was an idiot.
Wow.
Woof.
Yeah. So it was like, and also in the way that she talked about it, when she's like, when you're being directed to make a choice that isn't right, and you object, and the director says, okay, do it anyway, and they're your boss, so you kind of have to do it anyway, and you have to do it over and over and over again, you hate it.
It's just
Kinda
weird.
Makes me think, what was she doing in this movie? She was being sexually assaulted. Right. So it was like, basically, was that her telling us, I hated this, I hated having to do that, I objected, and I had to do it anyway.
Also, the only
and they
reason
tried
she
to
was
undercut
there-
her salary.
and the only reason she was there was to be able to get back into the Viceroy's head, to know where they were, so that they could shoot the ship.
Did you feel any payoff in that moment? Did you feel like vindicated for her? Did you feel?
No.
Damien, I don't know why this movie was made. I I have never said to you all, I want time back. I want time back.
Wow.
Whoa.
The best part of this movie was was
Laverne.
Geordie. No, I was gonna say I want to say his no character name when Geordie LaForge is sitting next to Guinan at the wedding and says, "You ever think about doing it again?" And she said, "35 times is enough for me." I said to myself, I want to meet every single one of those people that she married. I want to know that. I want a backstory of the many spouses.
And how many
Because
of
who
those
knows
marriages were concurrent?
how many of
Right.
It
those
doesn't
marriages,
specify.
correct, plural marriages, singular marriages, what alien, what gender, I want to know it all. I'm telling you, like, I don't understand. I, I don't understand why this was made. Like, it's so, everything you're telling me, like the behind the scenes, the director who's like, nah, and I looked up what movies he made. U.S. Marshals, decent movie. Prequel to The Fugitive. I actually like that movie, but it's an action movie. You not taking any, just a tad bit of advice or just information about who these people are. Like,
They've
I will
also
compare.
been playing these characters for like 20 years at this point. Like
Yeah.
they did it for 8 years on TV, and now this is like the third or fourth movie that the
Fourth.
Next Generation cast has been
Mhm.
in. And you want to tell them that they don't know what their character, like what, why not just fucking listen to these people that have for over a decade known these characters? Why?
Correct.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Could have come in and been a Peter Jackson in the Potter of it all when he came in for 3 and decided to make it darker, but he kept the integrity of the actual characters. Shorter time frame, right? Like it's not like they've been playing
Yeah. Yeah.
you've been Harry Potter
Yeah.
for 4 years. Fine. But he kept the integrity of the characters. He just made the world darker. Cool. If you wanted to do that here, make the world more actiony, fine, but keep the integrity of the characters. Like the only person, honestly, the only person who I recognized as himself was Picard.
Mm.
Riker didn't even have like Riker was fighting, but he didn't have his same little like quippy.
He didn't
Yeah.
have the
The
twinkle in
sparkle
his
in his
eye.
eye.
He didn't
You know
have
what I
any of
mean?
the. Yeah, yeah,
There was
yeah.
no Riker. Beverly wasn't trying to solve anything. Like, yes, like, ew.
Wow.
Well,
Yeah.
now
That
do you
sums it up.
see why in I think that this really shaped a lot of what obviously a lot of what we got in season 3 of Picard for so many reasons. But one of them was that Terry Matalas wanted to right all of the wrongs that had been done to that cast in that movie, right?
Yeah.
And it had been done all along because at no point had anyone talked to these people and said, what do you think about your character? Like what do like that some of you like some of the success of Riker most of the success of Riker and specifically Riker comes from Jonathan Frakes.
Right.
That is entirely an actor-based character, right?
Correct.
So,
Right.
what like why not like sit down and have a conversation just to see what he thinks?
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
just to know what you don't want to do. Like hear him out, and give these people and that I guarantee you that the strong Beverly story in season 3 of Picard was a direct reaction to her all but omission from the movies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She was done dirty by the movie. Now that we've covered all 4 of these movies, like she was done the dirtiest of all of them, I would
Yep.
say.
She got nothing.
She got nothing of any consequence to do.
Yeah.
So it was like like if you're any kind of Beverly fan from watching Next Generation, that was a real payoff given especially in this movie it just is like nothing.
Right.
Y'all are gonna have to make
I
up
think it's
for
about time to.
this.
Oh.
Yes. Oh, you are gonna have to make.
Yeah, they had to make up for it.
No, you, Mike Jones, you, Jameson, and by
We
proxy,
have to
Leigh
get your
Ellen.
time back with something.
I need I can't believe that this is the way this is ending. I was so like
Yeah.
joyful, like, okay, it's the end of our little block. Yay, movie time.
I remember when I watched this, I immediately the very first time, like I don't think that I had this like visceral of a reaction of like hating it, but I immediately was like, we need to watch the first episode of Picard because I can't like
Oh,
I don't need to end
Mm.
even my watching experience today on
right.
that, you know?
Well, and I don't know that I mean,
Mm.
question for you, Leigh Ellen, like, did that make you feel better? Because boy, Picard is a rotten, cranky old man when we meet him because in part of the events of that movie.
It did make me feel well, it was weird for me because I just recently started watching Star Trek within the last 10 years. And so I was fortunate to be able to do that. I mean, for you guys, you watched this in 2002 when it came out, and it's like you didn't know if there was ever going to be another Star Trek anything.
We went
And
years,
yeah.
Well, and
years.
a lot of that is a direct result of the problematic nature of this movie.
But I
37% on Rotten Tomatoes. Okay.
the way that
Yeah.
I didn't feel emotional about Data's death in the movie, I felt emotional when the blue skies started playing in the opening credits to Picard. Like that's when I
Mm.
got emotional about the death that had happened in the movie that I just felt nothing about, you know?
Mm.
I do I do get really emotional. I got emotional again when I'm rewatching Picard. Like it's really good.
I wanted more. I was hoping for more, and I'm just disappointed in the fact that they let this happen. And by let, I'm using that term loosely. I know that there are bosses of bosses who make decisions
You're
that
right.
are above people's heads, but just I would I Patrick Stewart would have been like, the fuck is this? Like even for him to just be like, I guess we're gonna go with it because it's in my contract. I've got to do it. Like,
I don't think that was the thing. I think that I think that the people who were like central to this movie didn't understand that was the case. I think the people who were like sidelined maybe did,
yeah, no, but that's yeah.
you
Like
know, but I think that Brent Spiner was a story by, you know, and Patrick Stewart
Yeah.
is always is very involved in these things.
Very
So
involved.
I don't think that, and when you look at people talking about it today, there's the there's not a lot of like regret. There's not a lot of like this is where we went wrong, you
Which
know,
I feel
and
like if there had been, we might not have ended up with the shitty action movie of Section 31.
Mm.
yeah.
Because isn't that technically the next one in line? Like not the Kelvin universe ones.
I
Those
mean, if
don't
you
really
omit the
count
Calvin
towards
ones, which I'm happy to do.
yeah, like
that's
those
not
don't really count
happening.
towards this same canon that we're talking about. And it's different characters. That one they recast with like actual like movie stars. They didn't
Sure.
use the people that we know from the TV show.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But like you had this bomb of a movie that was so poorly received that you didn't make the movie that you had a script for after that. And then the next movie that you decide to do 20 years later is another shitty action movie where you don't do the proper kind of character development and then look at how that was received, you
History
know?
repeats
Well, I mean,
itself.
that is you're asking the larger question though, Liel, and you're asking, does Star Trek belong on the big screen? Is the best of Star is Star Trek really meant for TV? Are we pissed off because we're when we watch these movies, we don't get the level of whatever that
Backstory and detail because there is the confines of you can only make a movie between 1 hour and 47 minutes and 2 hours and 22 minutes. And it better, if it's going to be over 2 hours, it better be an epic. And a whole lot of exposition is not what we're talking about. Yes, I think that in the beginning,
world building.
because,
There's not a
because
lot of
of
time for world building in a
no,
movie.
and I think that because of how close those movies were to series that were on TV still going. There was in the zeitgeist, it was right there. And because it has been so long for like it seems like you're saying that Deep Space Nine and Voyager were gone from the airwaves, so it's like just this movie. Next Gen was even further back, so you're not as close. It's not right there in your purview. So like I said, they're banking on the relation, hoping that you as a viewer have watched all of Next Gen, have watched all of the previous movies, so you have the weight of the relationship between Data and Picard and all of the rest of them right there in the front of your brain, so that when he decides to jump into the warp core of the neutron detonators ash maker,
Right.
you're gonna be sad. And you weren't. I this is at the bottom. This is at the bottom.
Well, you can't expect the viewer to be pulling from that information when the director's not pulling from that information.
It
Like
explains
there's a
so much.
huge
Yeah.
disconnect there.
It does explain so
Well,
much.
it sure is, because it is you so much of the theme of the story of this movie that was intended to be, right? Because it is this Nemesis story, but it's also like the story of like how families evolve and people go their separate ways, and life becomes, that special time that we know together has ended, and people do, like Data dies, Crusher goes to Starfleet Medical, Wrecker gets his own ship, Troy's gone, and Picard has to take new people. His golden days with his favorite crew are over, and it's like that's kind of the story that they set out to tell.
Well, they didn't do that because I ain't
They
feel none
sure
of that,
didn't, because
Damien.
they cut it all out.
Because I didn't get any of that. I got zero of that.
Yeah.
Bad. D plus.
All right,
Give you
now
a
tell
plus
me
for
something
that.
All right.
that you unabashedly loved about it. Find a thing that
Yeah,
you
we have to
loved.
end on a pod note.
Something that I unabashedly loved about this movie. The singular moment, aside from Geordi and Guinan at the table, because I always loved them chatting together,
Yeah.
is watching Bad Data, B4, pick up whatever the hell that was, and the callback to him singing the song to remind, to like, it was so trite and so like, ugh, but I did enjoy that, where it was like he was always whistling it wrong, and he didn't get, like when they were in the cheersing situation talking about Data
Mm-hmm.
whistling, but he could never find the tune. I thought it was very sweet that you had B4 sitting there just absent-mindedly singing that song, and then Picard giving the next line. Like that was a very sweet moment. It does not make up for the other
Oh,
137 minutes of a movie that I watched.
oh my gosh.
I
Is
really,
it that long?
no, it's like 2 hours. This movie is so long. I'm so like, y'all, I've never been this
I
way.
did have that
I
moment
am,
where I looked at that like indicator and I was like, oh my
it's
god,
like,
there's this much left.
An
I
hour and
don't understand.
57 minutes.
I'm just really, I'm sad. I'm sad that like this is what they put out, but thank you for telling me all of the behind the scenes tea, and it makes sense as to why I
Right.
feel this
Well, and
way.
also I'm sad that this is what they put out. What you're saying right now is also part of the story of why we didn't, the next Star Trek we got was like however how many years later, Mike. It was like it was 6 years later, and it was an
It was,
entirely new take on
yeah,
it. It
And
was
that's what I saw.
between
Like
2002 and 2009.
but
2009,
that's what I'm
and then
saying
it
to you. Like,
was, and then after that, by the time it came back to TV, it was Discovery, and it was so massively reinvented
Right.
that they were still reacting against this that many years later.
Right. I mean, and Enterprise was still on and lasted for a couple more years after this, but that is really a totally different, it's a different family, it's a different timeline, it's a different, franchise almost.
it's okay. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, I think we are coming time. As if I have a specific time in my head for these things. But yeah, I think we've driven home that this was not our favorite movie.
I'm so glad that
uh,
you guys asked me to be on this one. Thanks
Ah!
so
Oh, are you
much.
kidding me though? Are you kidding me? Listen, I find this conversation just as fascinating as the ones that we love. I don't.
yeah.
That's true. That's true.
I'm happy to dissect this movie for another 3 hours, but I don't want to not watch another moment of the movie itself.
Yeah.
No, like I think that's just what it is.
We're
I'm
not
just
going to
like,
fail.
no. We're done. I'm just like, wow. It like I think I'm so impressed by Star Trek. Like I've been impressed with it. Like as you know, I was an adult starting to watch this, and me and my completionist, I'm like, fuck. This is where the completionist has the rubber has hit the road.
You
And
know,
I
Lanita, if you want, you might be interested at what I can loan you my 50-year mission book, and you can read. I mean, it's like at 15 pages or whatever, like the sort of like section on this movie, because it is.
See you tomorrow.
I'll bring it. I mean, it's fascinating to read like all the shit that was going on behind the scenes with this movie, and the sort of like really divergent opinions on what they thought they were doing.
It shows up on screen. That's the long and short of it. It shows up on screen in every character and in every scene. You're just like, oh yeah, y'all didn't know what you were doing. So I'm happy. I'm excited to get to our next section, Kelvin Universe.
Yes.
Because I've only seen I've only seen the first one of the Kelvin. So it'll be a rewatch, but I'm still the guest because I don't remember it. But then the rest of them I haven't seen.
Awesome. Yeah,
and that's in that section of the movies, we revisit the question, what made Wrath of Khan work, and how can we make another trip back to that mine?
Yeah, that happens again.
Yay!
But not in the first one.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Well, thanks for being our guest, Lanita.
Thank you for having me.
As always,
thank you for keeping Lanita's chair warm, Leigh Ellen, while she sits in a different chair.
You're welcome.
For being our co-host.
Except for when I had to get out of my chair to get my cats on light. Control. Yeah, they did it a second time. I was like, I'm taking your toy away. They were playing with this little plastic piece and going insane.
That's amazing. Cats. And thank you, Damien. I know you also did a lot of research in preparation for this episode. And thank you, listener. If you have enjoyed listening to us ramble, leave us a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Like and subscribe. You can find us on all the socials at Hailing Freak Open. And with that, I will say Hailing Frequencies closed.
No goodbyes. Just good memories. Hailing Frequencies closed, sir.
I just had a moment as we were doing that where I'm cracking myself up because I was oh, sorry.
Nate's great. Perfect. That's exactly how this episode's going to end.
Yeah.